Well, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Family Matters. As usual, the conversation is our SMS line that is, at the top there, yes. 22162 is our SMS line. Of course, as you contribute, you can tell us who you are and where you're watching us from, if you're comfortable with that. If you're not, we'll still appreciate your feedback. On Twitter, at KBC Channel 1, at Kioria, the hashtag is Family Matters. We are handling the conversation on the pain about miscarriage. In studio, I have Beth Lwimbo. She's been here with us before. Thank you very much for joining us. I also have the husband, Patrick. Thank you also for joining us. Jen Ngatia is our resident counseling psychologist. She's not been here for like a month or so, but still, you're welcome back. So let's begin this conversation from the point of Beth.
Yes.
Tell us about your story.
Okay, my name is Beth Lwimbo. And let me say that I'm born again.
Yes.
And the joy of the Lord is my strength. About this issue of loss and grief and miscarriage, I know how it feels. I've gone through not one, not two, not three, not four, but I've lost babies, 6 of them.
6?
Yes, including twins.
What?
Yes. But I thank God, because if it was not for God, now I could be buried long time.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to lose a baby. It's not easy to be in the same state that you're able to carry a baby, and before the time, the baby is no more.
Let's begin from the first time.
Yes.
So for how many months did you carry the pregnancy?
Let me say that by the grace of the Lord, I got married, and God blessed us with a baby boy. After that, we said with my husband that we want to get a second one after 2 years.
All right.
Then we finished the chapter. We closed the chapter.
Okay.
But the second time, it did not happen as we planned. But I used to go to the normal clinics as usual. I had a doctor, a specialist, a gynecologist, very qualified.
Yeah.
And when it reached 8 months, I started feeling pain in my. I had a headache.
The 6th month?
No, 8th month.
The 8th month.
The baby
That's
was
a month
almost,
before delivery.
Yes, a month before the delivery. I thank God, because my husband was on leave then. So I told him I was feeling, I just saw my face was a bit swollen, and I started feeling pain, as in headache. So I asked him I called the doctor, and he said that I go to the clinic. Then when I visited the clinic, they said that my blood pressure was very high. So they said the condition that I had developed was its blood pressure in pregnancy is called preeclampsia. So they said they need to reduce me, as in they lower the blood pressure, or to be admitted, they lower the blood pressure, and then they induced me for labor, because the baby was almost due 1 month.
Yeah.
The baby is normally formed, and you're almost getting the baby. So they said I need to be delivered the baby, because that will help the blood pressure to calm down. Yeah. And what was causing the high blood pressure, they said, is the placenta. That is a foreign object in the stomach of the mother when they are pregnant. So unfortunately, the baby could not make it after the procedure, the induction. The baby died in my womb. It was very painful. Yeah. I was swollen. They said I cannot deliver normally. So I had to be operated on. Cesarean section. And the baby is no more. Let me tell you, it's like you feel like now what has happened. If you don't have faith in God, you can hate God, because you don't know why it has happened to you. But by the grace of God, He gave me the strength to pull all through this. The baby was removed. You have a scar, you don't have a baby, you are nursing the wound, and it's very painful. You just like, you feel like you're down. It's like you don't want even, you are closing, you don't want even people to talk about it. It was just, you're crying. You don't know what to do. But by the grace of God, He gave us the strength.
All right.
I thank God for my husband.
Yes,
He
we'll
was
talk
there
about
for
that
me.
in a bit.
Yes.
Let me get to Patrick just in a bit, because the joy of every father when you have, a pregnant wife is that when you go to hospital, you come back with a bouncing, baby. But here you are, your wife, has gone through these complications at the 8th month, and then you don't have a baby, and you have to nurse your wife now because she has scars. How was the journey for you at that point?
Well, what I've said is true. The joy of a father is to, after all that process is gone, you go to the hospital and come home with her and the baby. But what happened, of course, your expectations are not met. So you're there, you get to know the story. It's like you're in each and every step of the story as it unfolds. So it keeps on leaves with so many questions in your mind. What did we not do right? What happened? So as a human being, of course, you'll have so many questions which you may answer them yourself in a manner that you end up throwing out your revenge on someone else. But if you calm down, and of course, which is very hard, but with God being your backbone, and at least as a man, you have to be there for the one who has really had it rough, which is now your wife. So you have to compose yourself and be a bit calm. Yeah, though it's a very, very tough moment.
Jen, the blow of a miscarriage in its sense, apart from the person who has gone through it, not so many people understand the pain, as regards what the mother, that has lost the baby feels.
Yeah, very important observation there, JJ. And what Beth and Patrick are talking about is a very, very serious matter. It's only that probably society may not view it that way. We are talking about loss, and this is loss of a baby that was either born or died, as Beth has explained, whichever way, including stillbirth. That is very great loss. The first thing we need to recognize is that Beth had carried a pregnancy for for whichever duration, and she had hope of a baby coming. Her husband had similar hopes. And the worst thing is when people around them do not understand that is loss. Yet they mourned. Probably the bigger thing here is that pain of mourning, whereas others don't recognize. They don't even come for something like matanga, when we have lost, someone has died, a loved one, people will converge, they'll come to console them, which I suspect probably not too many of them turned up for that, because they don't see why should they mourn a baby that never was. So it's mourning, it has emotional drain in itself, it has physical drain. Thank God they had hope, and that spiritual aspect was their anchor. And they held on there with hope. But there's also social and that connection that goes, because society is very quick also to condemn that maybe the mother didn't go to hospital on time, and they didn't do the right thing, and also the casual expectations. So there are so many things involved, and it is very, very sad. Actually, it is even more sad for a mother to lose a baby than having had the baby and the baby probably die later in life, because in this case, she and him were mourning alone. It can also cause isolation of the person from the rest of the community. And the other tragic thing is the blame game. Who didn't do what? What didn't the doctor do? What didn't the mother do? What didn't the father do? And there is always someone being looked for to be blamed for such eventualities. So lack of understanding is what makes the whole matter are very, very complicated.
All right.
Yeah.
Beth,
Yes.
you talked about, if you do not believe in God, you're likely to get angry.
Sure.
But at one point, did you feel tested enough, at this point? There is a baby you've carried for 8 months. All of a sudden, you can't hold that baby. As much as you had trust in God,
Yeah.
was there a test that this is not it?
Let me say that when the mother is expecting, of course, you have, when you see something good, like I knew the baby was a girl, so I had shopped for the best attire for a girl.
Yeah.
Pink color, pink, purple, I love purple. I love good things. Girls, they have nice clothes. I had shopped for this baby, and we were very much eager to get this baby. Because the first one was a boy, now we are getting a baby girl, and all the joy is complete. I felt like God has let me down, yes. Testing of my faith was like the doctor, as Jenna said, that you can fall into blame game, that the doctor was not, there's something that he did not note when you were going for clinic. You're tempted, people are telling you different stories. Everybody's like giving you advice. Beth, did you do this? Beth, did you feel the baby? Were you feeling the baby playing? So many questions.
But this time, are they trying to say you were not keen enough on your pregnancy?
Sure. So many people will tell me, or used to tell me like that. Others used to say that cannot be a normal thing that has happened to you, Beth. Somebody's behind it. It's like they are saying...
Behind it, witchcraft?
Yes. So many people said, Beth, there's somebody who is behind it. So you have to look for somebody, as in there's those people who believe in witchcraft, and they believe in witch doctors. They believe in your neighbors are not good. The friends that used to come to visit you, they're not good. Others used to say maybe there's something that you ate that did not help the baby. So many things. It's like you get confused.
Yeah.
Which one is which now? And it's like you're starting to blame yourself. What did I not do, God? Were you not? Where were you when this was happening? It happens to so many people.
Because, Patrick, this is your wife, and with all these theories that are being, pumped into her, she's suffering, she's in pain. And you're also juggling between working, helping her,
Sure.
and you also have your friends who know you've lost a baby. So what was those weird things that went through your mind, or what were your friends telling you that time?
Yeah, you may have some group of friends. There are those whom you trust, and there are those who will really give you what I can call true caring kind of advice and support.
And there are not so many.
Yeah, there are not so many. There are quite few. You can rely on them, and you can divulge to them most of your inner stories, and they'll give you some good advice. But you'll have a bigger percentage of those who will, they may not tell you directly what they really want to say, but they'll camouflage it in a certain way. But at the back of their minds, you can tell that this person is either accusing me or blaming me for not having done 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So it's a time that you need to be very careful in terms of which friend do you listen to and which friend do you cling to.
Is it possible to sink into withdrawal at this point? Because you're anticipating that everybody that you meet will just have a negative thing because you've always, listened to these theories. Is it possible that one can withdraw now from people?
Yeah, you can, if especially if you're not that strong in your faith, whichever faith that you are in, and your family is also not that supportive. It is very, very possible that you may end up withdrawing, and of course the repercussion of that may be worse, because you don't know what will happen after that. Yeah, because you withdraw and don't want to speak to anyone. it's like the whole world has given up on you or is looking at you as a bad person. Yeah.
Jen, at that point of loneliness where there's so many theories, you know, clogging your mind, witchcraft, what you took, what you didn't take, how should you handle all this and remain sane at the same time?
Wow, very important question. The first thing, as Beth and Patrick say, is to remain together. It's very important, especially for a couple who lose a baby, that they stay together and they try to put off any negative input in the whole matter. The second thing is they need to talk to each other. And fortunately for Beth and Patrick, they seem to be talking. They were kind of looking at the whole matter and anchoring themselves on a common faith, common hope. That is also very, very important because that support for one another reduces the gap. And in that case, then there is more strength to move on and to look forward for better things. Very important that they don't allow themselves to be given advice. In any case, it was too late. Yeah. The baby has died. So whoever brings their theories, their suggestions, and so on, it wasn't going to help. The best one could do, if they had the capacity to choose that, is to get that kind of consolation in terms of we are praying for you or we are here for you. What would you like us to do for you? Because ideally this is loss. And the way we deal with loss is by helping that person who is grieving because they still have to grieve anyway and they have to go all the way to the healing process. So that was very, very important. And also, of course, to not lose that hope. Yeah. That last drop was very, very important.
Sticking together.
Yeah. I know.
Quite an important bit. Yeah. So here you are and you've picked up the pieces.
Yeah.
And I'm sure obviously you cannot expect a healing, you know, as quickly as, you know, you would expect. Yeah. But here you have picked up the pieces. How long did it get you to get pregnant again?
I thank God because of his strength and his power. And the way Jenna said, my husband was there for me. He really supported me. By the way, he was on leave and he got more days to stay with me and to encourage me and to tell me, honey, it is well with us. Lord loves us so much. That really thing helped me to collect my pieces and to continue and to pray. And also, one thing I thank God because of the people that we have, the people in our church and our family members. They really supported us. They were there for us, encouraging us and praying for us every now and then. So it did not take us long. I think I stayed for another year and then I conceived again. All right. And I thank God because of the grace. It was sufficient. We took extra more caution.
Of course, some of it relying on some of these other rumors that you are being hit with during the first pregnancy.
Yes, when I knew that I was expecting, I did go to the clinic and saw the doctor, consulted the doctor, and I thank God because we started taking precaution. He told me I have to take medication to avoid the same thing happening, repeating again. Yeah. So he put me on medication, and also the diet that I was eating. He really advised me on what to take. So we were very cautious of everything, and I thank God. The journey was not easy, but I thank God because I went up to the 7th month.
All right.
And unfortunately, the same signs showed up.
Just like the signs that had shown up?
Yes. So this time, I called the doctor and then he said, you just come. I was admitted. But they said they have to remove the baby before now the due date. So they managed to remove the baby at 7 months.
Alive.
Alive. He was a baby boy, but the legs were not yet matured. So he was put in incubator and he succumbed after 2 hours. This was also another tragedy. That was very painful, very painful. I was told that the baby, I saw the baby and the baby was handsome. He looked like the first one and the father. And you can't imagine now you're waiting. You have another scar. And the baby, you are told he's normal.
Yeah.
So painful. I feel, I've heard somebody say they have lost 70 of them. That is not an easy thing. And you're like, now, the things that you're being told, the witchcraft, it's like you see, now it's real. Somebody must be behind this. But I thank God because His grace is sufficient.
Is Patrick there by the time this news has been broken?
Yes. He's always been there, taking me to the hospital and even waiting for the delivery of the baby. And now he's the one who brings the news that doctor says, oh, baby did not make it.
Hold a bit. You didn't deliver this baby, the second one, normally, did you?
No.
It was still CS?
Yes. And the second one, the same.
What?
Yes. That's why I say the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Yeah, clearly.
If it was not for God, I could be normal. I normally tell people like that and they're like, Beth, what are you saying? You can afford a smile and this has happened. I've said not 1, not 2.
Why?
Not 3.
Patrick, this is like a blow by blow, for both of you. A blow after another. How did you take the news of a loss of a second baby, bearing in mind that just a year ago you lost another?
Yeah, it was quite a blow, as you've put it, because the second time, as you said, we tried to do everything. We're extra careful, extra keen, and all that. And of course, the doctor, I can say confidently, he was very good, a very good professional. I think he's late now, God rest his soul in peace. Yeah. But he's a very good professional doctor, and he really took us through each and every step properly. And when it came to the point of having an earlier delivery, taking the baby to the incubator and all that, we would see that this time around something is working out well. Yeah. But when it happened that he could not make it, it was quite a big blow. Okay. Yeah. So of course the questions will still be coming, quite a number of them this time around. But having undergone the same about a year or so before, and we had trust in God, and God pulled us through it, we still kept on our faith and said, well, this has happened, but we know God is still on our side, and He'll still take us through this session, as much as we may not be happy with what has actually happened. Yeah.
And it's got a strong backup when, you're talking about, God being there for you. But Jane, isn't it so easy to give up on God at this point?
That is amazing, because as I listen to Patrick and Beth, it seems there was something more. Because when loss comes, especially loss of a baby, an innocent baby, and, as it were, it is very easy to ask, where is God? I mean, no matter how strong your spirituality may be, but we can hear, in addition to their spirituality, how people lived before the loss occurred or the tragedy hit is very important. Patrick and Beth sound like they were always together. They did things together, and they had a way of not allowing the gap to exist, so that no third person got in. However, sounds like also they share a lot in their spirituality. They are able to pray together. They are able to do things together. And they are able to have a common vision in terms of what could have happened. Probably that is something very, very important, that people do not lose that hope, but it is very easy. But they also got social support. They got friends who cared, no matter how few. It's actually not the number that matter. It is those few. What do they come to do around them? What do they tell them? And it seems that put together helped quite a lot. But also being who they are, you know, there's a lot about when a tragedy strikes, about their own personality, because it sounds like these two are quite strong. I mean, they have been there, and probably they had gone through life in a different way, and they were hardened, what I would call hardened in a way, and part of our personalities and us to sail through. But all said and done, ultimately, their spirituality really bailed them out. If it were not for the hope, for the faith that, well, God still lives, and they knew beyond doubts that bad things can still happen to good people.
Sure.
I mean, just like good things happen to bad people, the opposite also happens. So I think that realization was able to carry them through.
All right.
And no wonder they are able to talk about it with confidence. I see them as a very important source of encouragement to many other people. I haven't heard them talk about psychological support, but ultimately that was also going to be very, very helpful. But also studying, saying the wind will not blow me away. Because it seems that's what you kept telling yourselves was very, very important.
Absolutely. As we have like about 13 minutes to once at the end of the program, and there's a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to move a little bit quickly so that, you know, we are able to wind up in good time. But then again, why did you keep trying? Because these are 2, all right, and you're saying you've lost 6. You know, without me sounding insensitive, there's no mischief in this question, because I want you to encourage somebody out there. Why did you keep trying?
Okay, the thing that kept us to not to give up is because of the faith that we have in God, and that we know that all things work together for good for those who are in Christ Jesus. We said we'll never give up. It's a very bad thing to give up in life, knowing that God owns our lives in his arms. So many people fear death. Let me tell you, our lives are numbered, and the Lord knew us even before we were formed in our mother's womb. The Bible says he has good plans for us in Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans that I have for you, plans not for evil, but for good, to give you a hope and future. Our future is in the hands of God. There is no way you are going to give up. And the Lord has promised good things to us. Even now, we have not given up. After that, we got twins. Yes.
That's the 3rd time now.
Yes, the 3rd time. That's why, you know, the total to 4. After that, we tried again. The hope that we have in God.
Were they similar circumstances, just like the first
one? The same thing, preeclampsia. The last one was last year. That hit me very much. I want to say that...
what time were you here? In 2016? Was it?
2016.
Must have been 2016 if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that time I'd lost, I think we tried twice after we were here.
After you had left?
Yes. And then the last one was last year. That's when it hit me very much. I lost blood. I was transfused 6 units of blood. Because my blood went to 4. The baby, they say they'll not now give me another scar. God gave me the grace. The twins, I just expelled them. They did not give me another scar. I have 3 scars, but the twins, I just expelled them. They did not make it.
Okay.
The same thing, a preeclampsia. So last year, it was 20 weeks. and now the blood pressure was too high. It was over 200. The preeclampsia. It was too. I came early.
Meaning you were also at risk at that point.
Yes, at risk. So they said when the baby died, when they did the scan, they said the baby died in my womb, and they said they have to remove it. They just induced me. I expelled the baby, but bleeding. Placenta could not make it.
Yeah.
So I was taken to theater to remove the placenta. But before I bled, my blood count went to 4. So I was given 6 units of blood. And also I experienced something called edema. My body was swollen. My lungs, that pulmonary edema, my lungs was full of water. So they started me dialysis. I do dialysis even now, twice.
Up until now?
Yes, twice. My kidneys, the doctor said my kidneys have failed. Now I have a letter here telling me that I need transfusion. I need transplant. Yes. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Let me tell you, this thing has caused me a lot of things, but I know by the grace of God, I will make it.
Let me read this out for the sake of
yes.
Viewers. Sorry for interruption. Beth Nduku Ndonye, 39 years, female. The above named is a hemodialysis for end-stage renal disease. She's preparing for a kidney transplant. Any assistance given her in opening a medical fund pay bill account to raise funds will be highly appreciated. Consultant, nephrologist. This is how far it has gone.
How far it has gone. But my faith is still on. We are together. The Lord has given us the strength to pray and also pray for people. I have the ministry to pray for people who have gone through grief and loss, that God is able to sustain them. I said I shall not die, but live to declare the works of God in the land of the living. I'm a living testimony. I died last year when I was hospitalized. All the hospitals knows me. Nairobi Hospital, Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi Women, Malta Hospital. I've gone to all the hospitals, even the National Hospital, Kenyatta Hospital. But the joy of the Lord is my strength. I'm able to encourage somebody never to give up in life. I shall live. I believe God has the power to create. God has created new kidneys for me. That is the testimony that I have. Next time I'm coming here, I believe God is able to restore my health and to encourage somebody. I'm a living testimony for the glory and honor of the Lord.
We believe together
and I'm not giving up.
Don't give up.
I'm a mother of nation. We have adopted a baby girl, Favor Joy. So we have 2 babies in our families. Yes.
Fantastic. It's a good spirit. Let me
And
ask this.
this book.
Yeah. Yes. And we'll talk about this book in a bit. The joy of the Lord is my strength. By the way, I've read this book.
Coming.
I've read this book, and there are more coming, right?
Yes.
Good inspiration.
Yeah.
But Patrick, again, no mischief in this question because the intention of it is, to lay the path clear. Men are not made of this material. Not so many men are made of this material. Of, withstanding all this and sticking with a wife all this long. What has kept you going?
Several things. Of course, first, my faith in God, all right? And then my principles in life. And also having a focus and not giving up, okay? So, things will come, tough times will come, but what's your focus? Where do you put your trust in, okay? It keeps you going. There's a better day coming tomorrow by the grace of God.
That is what has kept you moving?
Yeah.
Somebody out there would argue, I have faith in God, but there's a point at which He tests me so much. You have not had such a point?
Of course, you may have, as I said before, you may have the questions that you'll ask yourself, all right? But it depends on how deeply rooted are you in your faith, okay? Because these questions will come, but depending on how deeply rooted you are and depending on the support you get from your spouse and your family and your church and your pastor, all that put together will really give you a good direction.
Yeah. Jen, in terms of creating a backup for yourself in times of this, because as you can see, people will still talk even when it has gone this far. People will still talking. In terms of establishing a strong backup for you, that you have a circle of people that can support you. How do you do that?
Well, self-talk is very important. I think I'm amazed at how much Patrick and Beth can talk to themselves. In terms of mobilization, it's very important what Beth has just said, to say, I shall not give up. I shall not die. I mean, that's powerful. In fact, profoundly powerful. Because what we tell ourselves is more important than what people tell us. And before they tell us, we need to have that internal locus of evaluation. We need to evaluate ourselves first. And I think that is where their strength is coming from, because they have anchored themselves and backed up by their faith in God. And this is powerful. I think they are going places.
Amen.
Now, they seem like they have been on a road that has very many bumps.
Bumpy.
And they have hit one bump after another. And I would just like to imagine that they aren't going to stop their car. I mean, whatever it will take. If you, JJ, you got onto the highway, and I think that's what I imagine they are doing, the worst you can do is to stop. I mean, you'll be knocked over, and that will be the end of you. So they seem determined to drive their car, and they know where they are going. That's quite clear. And no matter how many bumps, they aren't going to stop. And I don't think there is any competent driver anyway, because I think this is a good way of looking at it, who stops just because they have hit a bump. The car may get a bust, may get whatever, but the driver says, I can't abandon my car. And so Beth and Patrick are not going to stop. And I think the faith that they have, somehow, miraculously, when we talk so much about to ourselves, at this time, not so much about spirituality. And we give ourselves hope before anyone comes around. Something happens, and we seem to blossom. I mean, we move. So there must be that internal strength that our Creator has given each one of us to talk to ourselves. So keep talking to ourselves and keep going. Beth and Patrick, I think you are a wonderful couple. And you are the people that Kenya is looking for. Transforming lives, getting impact, telling people no giving up.
Absolutely.
Including matters of health. You'll persist.
By the way, let me show you this book. Dottie, if you can just give me this book just for a moment. The book is called The Joy of the Lord is My Strength. The last time I was here, they were here. Rather, I got the book, been reading it, quite an inspirational book. This is out of her experiences. But by the way, some of your experiences are not captured here because they have happened after you've written the book.
There are others coming.
And I'm sure there are others coming so that you can inspire people more. And then is it the back cover. There you got Beth appearing on the back cover of this book. You're selling it?
500.
500, right?
Yeah.
Where do people get it?
I'll give them my number.
Oh, okay, you'll give your number for that. But tell me about this. Have you opened a medical fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just give us the details very quickly because we need to wind up. I see we've run short of time. If you can just announce it so that people can chip in and help. Like you've had, that was the 6th pregnancy?
Yeah.
At the 6th pregnancy, the doctors declared that kidneys had completely failed and she needs now a kidney transplant. That would cost a lot of money. So what is the medical fund?
182.
All right, just a minute. I'll announce that. The pay bill number to send to is 182298. I'll take that again. The pay bill number is 182298. That's the pay bill number. Is there an account number? Or you just
pay bill number, the account you put in your name.
Okay, the account you just put it in your name, but the pay bill number is 182298. Whatever little amount that you have, send it so that, we can, like you've had, she doesn't even pity herself, by the way. That's the best
don't
attitude
like
I've ever,
self-pity.
dealt with. There's no time for self-pity.
Yeah.
She's quite a strong one. But anyway, what we can do for a sister or a brother, because this is what we are commanded to do, let's do it. Pay bill number, once again, 182298.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best, by the way.
Thank
and
you.
we'll do what we can do, even us. And loyal viewers of Family Matters, here is a call to extend, a kind hand to a person in need here. And I'm really, really, really encouraged by you both because of coming, as well as Jenny, because of coming. Unfortunately, when I look at the time, we are cut short. So I don't know whether to give each one of you 30 seconds to wind up very quickly. 30 seconds. By that I mean, by the time it hits 32:30, we should be done.
I want to say that anyone who has gone through loss and grief, you can get my number, and I will encourage you. And never ever give up in life. God loves us so much, He cares for us. God bless you.
Wow, fantastic. Patrick.
Yeah, never give up in life. Always put your faith up. And as Jen said, there are many bumps on the road, but stopping is not an option. Thank
Trust me, I would want to be you when I grow up. Jen,
Yeah, for me, I love telling Kenyans
you
from
want
the
a camera? I think that one there. The one that
Okay.
has the red.
I like speaking to Kenyans. Giving up has never been an option. Together, we can make a difference in society, and we are headed for better times. And we must encourage ourselves. Psychological help is also available if it's too much to bear. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much, guys. There's the point when I say I don't have anything to add, because it's quite an emotional bit, but you would realize that this story is inspirational in its own sense. And for all of you that asked your questions, I'm sure in the course of this program you have been answered in one way or another. And don't give up just yet. Hang in there. And of course, I got a text here from somebody who tells me it's kind of interesting, and I'll get back to you. You don't tell me your name. Or Newton, rather, I got your name, Newton. I'll get back to you when I'm done with this program.